Hello people of the internet, my name is Eszter and today I want to talk about my story with Game of Thrones. Right now I've seen all of the seasons of the TV series and I've read almost all of the books. I'm around 80% done with the 5th book, so I'm almost through it all. So this video is going to be about my story and how did I get to this point of being quite immersed in Game of Thrones, because it didn't always start out like this. I'm one of those people who started getting involved with Game of Thrones quite late on. It all goes back to 12th grade when I was 18, and it was before Game of Thrones was a big thing. At least in Hungary, I think so. And my friend, she was watching it and she was super excited about it, but then she looked at me very seriously and said that I wouldn't like it. I don't know, when she was explaining to me what it is, I didn't feel that interested, to be honest. My first impression wasn't like, well, but you're wrong, whatever you told me did make me interested. It didn't. So after that I was just going off on her word. I never really got into it. Time passed and it did become a big thing also in Hungary, and I never really started watching it. It's probably mostly because the first dismissal that I wouldn't like the series. So I decided not to watch it, and after a while people were like, oh, are you watching Game of Thrones? And I said no. And they asked why? I said because my friend said so, I shouldn't. So me not watching the series is a mix of being stubborn and lazy, and also not hearing things about the series that would want to make me watch it. Also, it was something special about me, like, oh, you haven't watched Game of Thrones, and it's like a small group I could be a part of, not this big group that did like Game of Thrones. But now I'm on the other side. Last year, the first person who managed to convince me to watch the series is actually sitting across the room right now. So my boyfriend convinced me to sit down and watch it. I think he was the first person who actually made me sit down and watch it, as opposed to other people who would just try to convince me. So it was much more helpful to make me actually sit down and watch it. About the series, I liked it. It was an okay story, I was kind of into it, but to be honest, I never felt like it's that earth-shattering as it seemed to some people. I enjoyed it, but in some aspects it wasn't that grandiosely big thing for me until I started reading the books. So once we finished watching all the seasons up until season 6, I started reading the books because I ran out of books to read, and I was like, well, why not give it a chance? That is the point when I started going down the rabbit hole, especially reading the books and watching videos on YouTube, because I kind of knew the story, the biggest storyline, and I was reading the books and I was watching these theory videos, and a lot of the theory videos, besides about what's gonna happen, a lot of them at least, were about what could have happened before. And that is what to me is the most appealing about Game of Thrones, that it really just seems like it got picked out of this very small time frame, and anything that happened before it and after it, it's something that, things that can be happening. It is in a universe that has its own history. And that is why I really love it. I really like history. I wouldn't say I'm like a history nerd or anything, but I did take history as an elective in high school, and I really enjoyed it. Mostly because of the stories that are in history. And to me, Game of Thrones is not really fantasy book or story. It's more of a history book that is set in a world where there are dragons and magic and things like that. It's not an overwhelmingly fantasy book. It has more political elements, and it's a bit more about history and culture especially when different characters travel through Essos and we meet these different cultures, because the Westerosi culture is mostly mimicked after, I think, like medieval English times. As far as I know, that was the inspiration for the series. So yeah, it appeals to me more on a history side rather than a magical side. That's where I am. We watched the 7th season, which was quite disappointing. Even though the first couple seasons didn't make me feel like it was the most amazing piece of television ever, it was very nice, especially when reading the books after and seeing it also as an adaptation. It's a very good adaptation. And now for the 7th season, it might be because I got also a bit too involved in the whole thing, watching all of these theories and people talk about this universe, these characters. Everything kind of that happened in the series was something to me that felt like they just pulled it out of theory online. Which is, here's the thing, if the theories are good, if the book is written well, then everything should be going in that direction. But maybe it wouldn't be just so plain as it was in season 7. To me, everything was oversimplified, especially there wasn't enough space for political maneuvering, for people actually being smart, which is part of the series, that the people who do survive are or should be smart people. I was a bit disappointed with season 7. It looked amazing and it had some amazing points, but yeah, I was more on the disappointed side. Actually, I watched a video essay a couple days ago, which I will link down below, and it says it very beautifully. It's like falling out of love. And for me, someone who just started to get into it last year, it still had that kind of effect on me, which is crazy, and I don't even want to think about how badly it affects those people who have watched this for so much longer. Let's hope season 8 is getting better, but most of all, let's hope that the next books get published rather sooner than later. But I'm okay with George R. R. Martin taking his time and putting good work into his books. This was my story with Game of Thrones. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did so, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in what I will upload next, then please subscribe. And I'm gonna see you guys next week. Bye bye!